So it's a brand new year coming up for you, whoever's listening, 2025, and you're thinking about having kids. So, should you have a child in 2025? Well, I would say no, you shouldn't, and you never should have kids. But let's go through this. I mean, why do you want a child in the first place? You might say, well, I want to have my legacy continue on. I want to have a little child that I can raise and be my own, and see what my kid would look like. You might say, I want to give them the best life, the best upbringing. You might say all these things, but you have to understand that it's all about your own selfish desire if you choose to have a kid, because the kid can't ask to be born into this world. And I don't know how old you are, whoever's listening, who's considering having a kid in 2025 or any year. But I mean, have you seen the things that go on in this world, the terrible things? I mean, what if your child was a terrible person and they fucking were a murderer or a terrible person like that? That caliber of like malice and viciousness. Human beings are a very violent and petty species, and your child will not be an exception. It's not going to be like your child's going to be the next Albert Einstein or something like that. You have to think realistically, and you can't, even if your child's a good person, you can't control the people that they'll come into contact with when they're in this world, because you can't control anything in this world. You can only control yourself to an extent. You can't even control your own body or your own physical needs. You can't control when you need to go to the toilet or when you don't need to drink water. You can't control that. You almost have no control over your own physical being. I mean, babies they need nappies and shit so they don't wet themselves. And then we gain control of it. And then I think as we get older, we lose that power or that control over ourselves. I don't know. I don't want to know. I've never been in a nursing home or anything like that. But you who's considering having a kid in 2025 or any year past that, you have to question, like, why do you want to do that to somebody? Like, don't do something just because everybody else does it. That's just stupid. It's just walking off a cliff, in my opinion. It's just frustrating, because everybody in this world, if you've woken up to the truth, then you know that having kids is the worst thing ever. But everybody in this world does it because they're all doing the same thing. You have to do something different. Well, you don't have to do something different, but it's better if you don't do what everybody else is doing, because it's wrong. It is wrong to force somebody else into this world, into this flesh prison, and they could be born with a disease that you might not even know that you have or your partner has. And who's to say you and your partner will even stick together? Too many things can go wrong, and it might be a negative outlook or perspective, but it's also realistic. You can't just think that like everything's going to be okay, because it's not in this world. This world is very pathetic, and human beings in it are very pathetic. You can't think that like everything's going to be okay. You can't be that naive if you're thinking about having a kid. You can't be that stupid, because it will end up backfiring a bit. Life will kick you in your ass and you won't even realize it. Life just has a way of kicking people in their ass when they don't even realize it. Because it's like I said before, you can't control the things in this world around you. You can't control the people around you. You can't control the circumstances around you. You can if you have something called money, but I mean, most people are not rich. So if you're not even rich, why would you even consider having a kid? I'm not trying to be like a loser mentality, but I mean, obviously money's gonna help. You know what I mean? Obviously, in someone's quality of life. Money's not everything. They could still have a terrible disease or mental disorder, but money's gonna make a huge difference. So if you're not even financially secure, you shouldn't even think about having kids. But even if you are, you shouldn't really have kids anyways, because you're just forcing somebody else into this flesh prison, and there's no guarantee they'll like you. So it's just stupid, really. There's no guarantee your kids will fucking like you anyways. Like, a lot of parents in fucking nursing homes, their kids don't ever visit them. They don't give a shit about them because for whatever reason, you know, who knows, because people grow apart, you know, it's just the way it is. it's just it's just stupid forcing somebody else into this flesh prison, you know. We're all gonna die anyways. No matter how happy or sad you are about this existence, we're all gonna die in the end anyways. So you should make the most of your life in a positive way. I'm not trying to be a downer in this video to whoever's listening, but, you know, don't force somebody else here to make yourself happy. That's just wrong. That's my opinion, but it's honestly a fact, to be honest with you. It's honestly a fact, because you're forcing somebody else to make you happy. It's like abuse, you know? Or it's like trying to hurt somebody and trying to get a little 2-second dirty high or some shit, you know what I mean? But that's what human beings are like in this world. They try to hurt people and try and get a 2-second dirty little high. That's the way people think. Not everybody, not most people, but enough people out there that you gotta be like, you know, this world is not a place to bring somebody into, and it never was. Just because everybody else does it and their lives seem okay doesn't mean that is true, for number one. And number two, it doesn't mean that your kid's life is going to be okay. You know, you have to think about these things, but people don't think, obviously. They don't, for whatever dumb reason. Maybe because they're truly NPCs, and maybe this is a video game. I don't fucking know. I'm just making this video to tell you, whoever's listening, to not have kids, you know? It's the worst thing you could do. And it's crazy. Anti-natalism should be mainstream already. Why the fuck is it not? I know it's growing online, so that's good. People are waking up to this bullshit, and like their parents fucking did them a huge disservice. Excuse me. Their parents did them a huge disservice. Especially if their parents have like mental or physical disorders or mental health problems, or they're poor or whatever. Then they did their kids an even worse disservice, bringing them into this flesh prison world. They did. Even rich people, like, if you know the actor Colin Farrell, his son has a problem called Angel Man syndrome, and even being rich and famous won't save your kids from suffering, you know? It won't. So what's the point? Why do you want to bring somebody else into this world? Even if they have a good life, you're doing it for selfish reasons. You should just adopt a kid or just adopt a pet, to be honest. Anyone who forces somebody else into this world, at least intentionally, I don't really have respect for them, you know? But it seems like respect means nothing anyways to humanity. Humanity has no fucking morals or anything. They have no principles or anything. So if you've been through shit in this world, you would know that humanity has no fucking principles, and they don't give a fuck about each other. They only care about their fucking 2-second dirty little high, you know? If you know what I mean. People are selfish, you know? And the most selfish thing you can do is force somebody else into this world. For what? For your own needs? You're probably going to die before them, so they're going to be left in this world without you, you know? Not that they actually care about you. They probably, they might not give a shit about you. Like I said before, a lot of kids don't visit their parents in the nursing home or whatever, or they don't take care of their parents when they're older. But you know, you're just forcing somebody else into this world, and there's no guarantee that things will turn out good. There's no guarantee of that. Why do people believe in all this like this like hopeless optimism? Like things are gonna go okay throughout someone's life, throughout the course of their entire life. That's what my parents thought for my life, I think. Like, they always thought that I would have the things I want, and I don't. My life sucks, you know? Because life is unfair, and some people get what they want, and some don't get what they want, and people go through unnecessary suffering and bullshit. That's all this reality is, really. Unnecessary suffering and bullshit and pain and work. That's all it is, really. And taking care of bodily needs that never needed to exist. Your future kid that doesn't exist in 2025, they don't need to exist, so just don't force them here, man. If you're having sex, you should just get a vasectomy or practice safe sex, you know? It's not worth it. It's not worth bringing somebody else here. This is not a victim or loser mentality. No, this is a winner mentality, because it's preventing suffering, you know? This is positive. This is not negative. If I was negative, I would not be saying this, but this is positive. This is the most positive thing you could do, not force somebody else here, because by doing that, you're hurting them. You are hurting them, even if you don't want to, but you're doing it in the most selfish way, you know? No one even asked to be born. You can't sign a fucking paper to say that I want to be born or I don't want to be here. No, your parents just force you here, no matter how rich or poor they are, you know, no matter how much of a shitty area they bring you in or a good area they bring you in. You have no say in this life whatsoever, really. So much of it is based around luck. It is. Yeah, you can work for things that you want in this world and you can get lucky and successful, I guess, sure. I'm not being a victim, but so much of it is based on luck, and it's just not worth it. Every life is a risk and a gamble, genetically, financially, mentally, emotionally, physically, is all a gamble, and in the end, it all ends in death anyways. It's not worth starting. It's never worth starting a life. Never worth starting. It's worth continuing your life, whoever's listening. But, you know, don't force somebody else here to start a life that they never needed, you know? Do we understand each other? Okay.